Hey guys, what's up? I've got Erin here. She just competed. She is an OCB Bikini Pro. Erin, can you introduce yourself a little bit? Some background about you?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you and kind of share my journey, my fitness journey. I am Erin. I'm 42 years old. I'm wife, mommy, all of that. And I can't wait to just dive in and talk about, my story and hopefully it helps you.
Yeah, so you just competed last weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about how it went, your experience?
Yes, this was such a great show. We live in Maryland where it's cold and rainy. I've got on a sweatshirt right now. I'm so cold. And we went to Tampa, which was so nice. It was beautiful. It was hot. It was sunny. Like, as soon as we got off the airplane, our moods just elevated because we started seeing like palm trees and we were just like, this is it, right?
Yeah, did you brought your girls with you, right? Or did they stay?
Courtney, this was like a date for us.
Okay, okay,
This
okay.
this trip made up for all the like all prep where we couldn't go on a date. We couldn't have the food, the dinner. So this was our like bonding time for me and my husband only.
Oh, I love that. And so your
Yes.
husband is super supportive. So he's got Frank's Fitness Center. You guys promote a show together. That's really powerful. And I love that he supports you in everything that you do and that you guys kind of do it together because he
Yes.
doesn't compete, right?
Yes, he does compete.
He does. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. When was his last show?
We actually did like a 3 show run back in 28 like 2017, 2018. And I'm trying to get him to compete again, but he just girl does not want to commit to the diet right now.
I get it. I get it. The diet's hard. Okay, so you're an OCB pro, married, kids, competing on the pro level in the OCB. Were you always in shape, or at what age did you start to really value your fitness?
This is so crazy. I was never an athlete, never worked out. So I had my first 3 children from my first marriage in my 20s. So after I had my first 3 kids, like any mom, I just wanted to lose the baby weight. Like, you know, I did tons of cardio. I did the Special K diet. I don't know if you ever heard of the Special K diet, where you
I
ate like the
did.
cereal and the bars and like that's it
Yeah.
all day. So unhealthy, just ridiculous. Like I look back at that and I am so mad at myself. Like I'm cringing. But so I actually just, I joined a gym, stayed on the cardio because I was scared of the weights. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to work the machines. I didn't want to look stupid. And I finally just reached out to a trainer and was like, I want to lose 10 pounds. I I want to eat what I want, but I don't want to build a lot of muscle because I don't want to look like a man.
Mm,
Um, you know what I'm saying? We have all
yes.
been there. Like that's where we
Oh,
all start.
yeah,
Yes. And again, I look back and I am cringing when I say
right.
that, but that was me. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to lose the 10 pounds. So we started like, doing like boot camp style things. Um, Weight started coming off. I, could ease up on the cardio. He he taught me how to eat, for my goals. And
Hmm.
when we started like losing some weight and I got a little arm definition, I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And
Mhm.
he was like, if we push you a little bit, you start to lift a little bit heavier, you eat a little bit more protein, you could start competing. And I was like, competing in what? He was like, in bodybuilding. I was like, in body, like Courtney, I had no idea that this was a thing. Like I
Yeah,
didn't even know
yeah,
that like this I could.
yeah.
And so I went home and I researched it and I saw this beautiful woman in this like sparkly bikini. And I was like, if you can make me look like her, I will do whatever you tell me to do. And he was like, okay, we're going to do this. And so I did my first prep, did my first show, came in last place. The kids were in the audience. They were so sad. They were like, Mom, are you okay? I was like, watch, mommy's going to work. Like, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to try
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And we're going to do this. And I'm going to work so hard and I'm going to make you guys so proud. Like, I never wanted to see those sad faces again. And like, that's like what kind of motivated me to like work like so freaking hard. And then we did another show like 6 months later, and I came from last place to second place. And I was
Mhm.
like, this is incredible. And like from there, I was just hooked.
Yeah. So you already had, how old were your babies at that point?
They were like 10 and under. So like 10, 8, and 6.
And were you in Baltimore at that time too? Did you
Yes.
Okay, so you were in Baltimore. And so when you got last place at your first show, was
Hmm.
it a lot of times it's like it's really hard to get that stage level conditioning your first time. A lot of time maybe you don't have the muscle density. But you know how sometimes like my first show, it was like I tried to do my own tan. I didn't know how to pose. The
Right.
suit I borrowed from somebody else, it was not for my body. So it
Yes.
was
All of that.
like it was like that. Was that similar to like your first show? Like looking back at things that maybe you messed up as a first time competitor or didn't
Oh
know.
my God. Oh, yes. Like, and this was back in 2015. So it was still kind of, it's like not
New.
what it is today,
Yeah, I was
you
new.
know?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Like my suit was like a god awful color, I didn't even eat on show day because I was just so nervous. That's like unheard of. Like, so
Hmm.
just all these things that we did wrong. Like I was questioning, why do I need to tan? I'm black. Like what, just all the things
Okay.
that
Oh
you
my
look back
gosh.
on at a first time competitor and you're like, oh no.
That is so funny. Okay, I love that. So then 6 months later, you came back and you got second. So I'm sure the presentation was a little improved, a little more muscularity, a little bit of more conditioning. So
Hmm.
in between those two shows, were you following a diet or was it like was your trainer giving you a diet or was he just personal training you and kind of telling you what to eat?
Yes. So he was like just kind of a personal trainer. And we were just kind of going on macros. So it wasn't like a regimented like, meal plan. He
Right.
was he was more into like the personal training.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
got you. So you went from last place to second, and
Hmm.
then beyond that, so obviously you're a pro now. So what happened after that kind of led to you getting your OCB pro card?
Yes. So okay, coaches matter. Like I am forever grateful for my first like trainer, coach. You know, his name was Erin, ironically. His name was Erin. He introduced me to this whole world. Um, but then Frank came into my life.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm
spicy.
gonna tell you this story because this is good too.
Yeah.
So, a few, maybe like 2 years after, those first like two competitions, I registered for this little show in Baltimore, um, kind of on a whim because I was getting ready for another show. But I was like, I'm just gonna jump in this show, just to get the nerves out. You know how you do like a warm up show. This was
Yes.
gonna be my warm up show. So I show up to check in, and I was like, wow, he's kind of cute. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
Frank. So Frank was the
Just a
promoter.
thought though. Okay.
Yes. And yeah, so I was like, oh wow, okay. Um so then the show happens, and of course I don't do as well as I would have liked because this was just a show warm up. I was jumping in, I was not ready.
Mhm.
I knew I wasn't ready. So I reached out to him because I was self coaching. Okay. At this point, I reached out to him. I said, I really want to do better. Like, I really want to get good at this. Can you recommend someone who can coach me, who can, work with me? He was like, I'll do it. I was like,
Really? Okay, so
oh,
he was a coach. Is that why you thought to ask him because
well,
he
he
was
was just the
coaching or you saw his
promoter.
athletes? Oh, he was the promoter.
He
Okay,
was
got
the promoter of the show. So I said, he'll know
it. Mm-hmm.
who can help me. Um, I was just looking for a recommendation for a coach. And I'll do it. I'll coach you. So I said, okay.
Okay.
So we started working together, strictly business, like strictly coaching.
Yeah.
He was my trainer. We worked out together in the gym, and he also was doing my nutrition. Um, we did a couple shows together, was getting better and better. And then I did win my, natural pro card with him. Um,
Okay. And just to
yeah.
clarify really quick, all those shows that
Mhm.
you did up to this point were drug tested natural OCB shows, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We did actually do a couple NPC shows together too. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's interesting. So competing in both NPC and OCB,
Oh
what
yeah.
drove you to stay with the OCB? Or go for that pro card versus the NPC route?
Well, I actually there's things about both organizations that I love. There's things about both that I don't like so much. I just like to compete.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna compete in both. I love to compete in both. Like that's just, what it is. I don't care. I do both.
Right. Okay. Okay. Awesome. So because I used to think for some reason there was like a rule where it was like if you got your OCB pro card, you weren't allowed to compete in other federations or at least not get a pro card in another federation.
That was a rule. That
Okay.
was a rule that did come out, that they did not want their OCB pros competing in any other organizations. So at that point in time, I made a choice and I said, nobody's going to tell me where I can compete.
Mhm.
And I actually gave up my pro card to compete in the NPC because I like to be able to make my own choices. I'm a little rebellious in that way where, I don't like to be told what to do. Um,
Okay.
as a natural athlete, Courtney, you know this, you're my coach. It
Hmm.
takes me forever to get lean.
Hmm.
So I like to compete around while I'm lean. Like I like to do 2 and 3 shows. I don't want to spend 6 months prepping to do one show. Like that makes
Right.
no sense to me.
Right.
But the OCB, they removed that rule and now we can compete wherever we can do whatever we want. So,
Oh, okay. That's awesome. That's good to know that
mhm,
they updated that. So
yes.
you get your OCB pro card with Frank.
Hmm.
What's the pro debut look like?
Okay. So he actually promoted another show in New York. So that was my going to be my pro debut. It was a couple months after I got my pro card. I'm hungry. I'm like, we're going to do this. We're going to go. And I did his show in New York. Um, a couple months after I got my pro card, and it was exciting. I came home with one of the big checks. We won some money. So it was
Hey,
great. Yay.
that's awesome. And just for everybody watching this too, so you might be like, oh my gosh, she did the show that Frank's promoting. That's her trainer. Well,
Yes.
the promoter is different than the judge is. So the promoter puts on the show, but he's not a judge. So the
Right.
judges are going to be separate. And so it's just like his shindig. He organizes it. Judges come in, athletes come in.
Yes.
So it's not a situation where there really could be any bias there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so pro debut's done. So throughout all this, you've been pretty successful with competing. And so you were introduced to it, you loved it, you decide this is something you want to do long term, you get your pro card in the OCB. So when we started together, I was coaching for a team. It was Team Elite Physique. Can you talk
Mhm.
about what led you to hiring a coach that was not Frank?
Yes, yes. Okay. So, and for those who don't know, Frank and I ended up getting married. We fell in love, all that. He's my best friend, yada yada. Okay. So, um, so I needed someone who could be like not. So Frank was too nice, basically. If
Mm,
I was like, babe, I'm so tired. Oh my God, I need to cheat. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, you know what? I need somebody who's going to kick my ass. Like I cannot,
mm,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah. So I needed someone who like didn't know me
Hmm.
and, wouldn't let me be in I needed someone who's going to be tough, basically.
Okay.
Because your husband is going to, he's like like a putty. Like if I just give him the bat my eyes, he's like, okay. So I'm like, I need someone that's going to be like really tough.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. So I know some other women who are coached by their husbands, but they have a different experience. So their
Mm,
husbands are not maybe as nice as Frank is, but it's not that. It's like it was hard for them, for their significant other to always have to look at them through a coach's eyes because,
yes.
it's harder to be romantic. It's harder to look at your partner and not be looking for flaws or conditioning or,
Mm,
that's a major piece of feedback and where it would kind of create discord between the couple because or sometimes let's say she eats off plan and then you know what I mean? Then you're at home in the same house. And so
yes.
it's
Yes.
a little bit kind of walking on eggshells there. So that's funny though that Frank is nice and would give you what you want. I think that says a lot about his personality because I feel like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
always like that. And sometimes some husbands can be a little bit on the maybe meaner side or harder.
Right. Right.
I love that about him though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, so you signed up and so you just needed somebody outside to be harder and tougher on you. So how was
Hmm.
your experience when we started working together?
It was so it well, number 1, it's just different because, going from male to female is, like, really different. I know
Hmm.
some women, have a preference of, only wanting to work with a female or they don't mind working. It's a little different. Like, you understand, like, the menstrual cycle and PMS and hormones and all of that. So, that right there was like a total 180. Yeah.
Hmm.
He doesn't quite, or a man can't really quite understand, why you're so ravenous those 2 days
Mm.
before you get your period, or like why you're being such a bitch. So it's really nice having a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because sometimes in contest prep, we forget. It's like, you'll be like, why is this happening? Why is my weight up? Why is my waist? Why am I doing this? And it's like, it's okay. It's just
Yes.
a visitor. So sometimes we feel like we should be seeing a certain result. And if we see anything else, even if it is, you're about to start your cycle, it can be hard to piece that together when you're in it for sure.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
And you had just had your twins too. So you were coming off of that, which I remember our first prep together. So you said that you take a long time to get in shape, but I feel like our first prep was probably the smoothest one. Like your body just dropped and dropped and dropped, and you got shredded, like
Yeah.
shredded peeled.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, and working with you, when I sent you my first like check-in pictures, I was like, this girl has got her work cut out for her. I was like, I hope she doesn't, think I'm crazy or anything. I mean, and it's just so, I was looking back at my first check-in pictures with you the other day and just looking at my body, it's so crazy. Like postpartum really can wreak havoc on your body. Like I remember my stomach was literally black. I don't know
Mhm.
why your skin can change, but it's just something, with pregnancy that, just the changes in your body are crazy. So
It
first
is,
of all, I just want to say
yeah.
thank you for taking a chance on me because those first check-in pictures were crazy. Crazy.
They, I mean, they felt that way to you because you're a previous competitor, but to me, you just looked like a girl who just had babies. And honestly, I felt like you still, pregnancy does do crazy things and different things to everybody's body, but I mean, your starting point wasn't as outrageous as maybe what it felt like to you, or it didn't look that way to me. And it's almost easier like molding somebody from kind of who looks maybe not as in shape to in shape, if that
Yeah.
makes sense,
Okay.
because
Okay.
there is a point, and I feel like even now it's like you're in shape and you've made so much progress, and it's harder to see those changes and make those drastic changes when you're already really good. So
Yeah.
I really see it
That
as an
makes sense.
opportunity. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just remember every single week, I mean, for weeks, and it almost never happens like that where the fat loss is linear, and yours was for so long. It was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really fun. But okay, so pregnancy, postpartum. So we know what made you kind of choose a different coach outside. And we did an NPC show,
Hmm.
crushed it. And
Yes,
that,
it was an NBC Natural show. That was the first one that we did together. Yes.
yeah, and you did really well.
Yeah, I think we got
Placed-
we had second place.
yeah, yeah, you placed really well in your classes. And I feel like that was probably one of like the best conditioning shows that we've honestly ever had together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That was killer. That was killer. So your mindset postpartum. So we know that you were like, oh my gosh, what happened there? Or you felt like all these crazy changes and you felt like you were really, kind of like your body had just been through a lot. So mentally, where was your head at during that prep? Because you were consistently dropping, you were very obviously committed to the plan. But from your side of it, like
Hmm.
to me, it looked like it was kind of easy street for you. You were dropping like crazy. But for your side, I know that it wasn't. So what was your experience like going through that? Because I think it was almost exactly a year later that you got on stage. So
Yes.
for
Yes.
transformation and then kind of switched into contest prep.
Yes. I remember the twins were 10 months old when we did that show.
That's so
That
crazy.
is insane. That is
Yeah.
insanity. Yeah,
Yeah.
but my mindset was just, I want to do this. Like this was like going to be my comeback, like my snapback. Like I was so just focused and ready. You know how when you are ready to start a prep, there's like just switch that has to flip. I was
Yes.
thinking about The greatest coach could give you the best plan, but if you're not ready and you're that switch is not flipped,
Yes.
nothing is going to happen. Like,
Yes.
and that switch was flipped. Like, I was ready to work for you. Like, I was so excited.
You were, and you did, and that's what I mean. You crushed it because it was like whatever it takes. I could tell that you had that mindset,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
really paid off for you. Were you already with Angels at that point? I
Yes.
want to talk a little bit about
Yes.
that too, because you're a sponsored athlete with Angels. You do a lot of stuff with them, the fashion show. At your guys' show that you promote currently in Maryland, you have the Angels fashion show. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how you got involved with Angels and kind of what that's done for your fitness journey and your life and how it all pieces together?
Yes. So, okay. So, as a mom, I had three kids. I was always on a budget. So, I was always buying, like, the suits off of Etsy or the clearance suits or borrowing a suit or, buying a plain suit and trying to bling it out myself, which really is a waste of time and money. I just have to say. So, but I've tried all the suit companies, all the cheapest that I could do. And I finally settled on Angel. I bought, a cheap suit. I blinged it out myself. And I just realized the quality that those suits are. And so each time I competed, I just kind of, stepped up to the next, design, just kind of treated myself a little bit more every single time because I realized I'm going to be in the sport. Like, I'm going to do this. And I don't know, I consider myself, I guess, kind of an underdog. I'm older, I'm a mom, Um, but they saw something in me, I guess. I don't know. And one day they just announced me as a sponsored athlete. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? What is
That's
going on here?
amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I just, once I find like someone I am like fiercely loyal. Like I just stay with it. Like I'm not one to like, you know, hop
Yeah.
around. And I guess they realized that and they said that they, saw that I was like a positive influence to like the mom community. So,
Hmm.
here we are.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then, okay, so with that too, so between mom and being a wife, and you also kind of with Saint, it's like a business thing, right? So you're kind of like an entrepreneur, it's your own business.
Yes. Yeah.
So when it comes to navigating all of that, so marriage, kids, and work, how do you do it? I think a lot
Mm.
of moms would love to know how you do it.
Well, first, that switch that we just talked about has to be flipped. Like you have to be freaking in it and ready to just go. Like otherwise it's not happening. But I will tell you, like, I think the thing that really keeps me going literally every day is my faith. Like
Mm.
I pray probably 2 or 3 times a day, honestly, just for the strength to get through that day.
Okay, I believe you. I 100% believe you. Yeah, your days are crazy. So, can you give us an example of what does a day in the life of Erin look like?
Oh my goodness, yes. So, okay. So the girls are up. It's time to get them ready either for pre-K or for dance. So getting them out the house. I'm a stay-at-home mom, thank goodness. So I have a little bit of time when they go to pre-K. I get my older kids off to school
So, what time are you waking up in the morning?
about 6.
6. Okay, so
About
6
6.
o'clock to
Yeah.
get the day
So
started to get this done.
reasonable.
Do
Yeah,
you
nothing
eat
crazy.
first thing when you get up, or do you take them to school first?
What's that?
Do you eat first thing in the morning, or do you take them to school first?
No, no.
Okay.
It's like I have no time. Like you
Hmm.
at my it's like I always am second fiddle to everything.
Yes.
I have to take into consideration my kids, their welfare, their well-being. My husband has his needs. So
Right.
it's like I'm always taking
Yes.
care of myself last.
So are you cooking breakfast for them? Is like, what's your guys' morning routine? So you get up, you're getting them ready, they're getting dressed, brushing teeth. Are you making them breakfast?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Them, sometimes Frank. And like I said, after I get them off to school, if I'm prepping, I'll do my cardio in the morning and then I'll have my breakfast once I get back in.
Okay. And what time is that usually when you're done with cardio and getting them to school?
That's probably around 10 a.m.
Okay, around 10 a.m. Perfect. Okay.
Hmm.
And then what?
And then I can just relax for 2 hours. They're in pre K until like 1 o'clock, which is like, I run, 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 run. If I have to go to the grocery store, do my little errands, I do that while they're at school, come
Yes.
home for 10 minutes, collect myself, and then it's back to picking them up. And then
Okay.
I pick up
That
my
two
older kids.
hours is like your
Yes.
errand time. Okay.
Yes.
Erin,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yes.
10 minutes and then you're picking them up.
Yes.
Okay. Then what?
And then after that, I try to get them down for a nap. Then
Mm,
I'm back out the door to pick up my older kids.
dang. Okay. Yeah.
Girl,
Lots of
it
running. So every day is a run around.
every day, it is nonstop. Like I am not stopping all day.
Okay. So we pick up the older kids. What time is that
Mhm.
usually?
That's 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Okay. And then so let's say, I mean, you're pretty on point, whether you're in contest prep or improvement season, or even if you're just trying to, like for anybody out there who's just trying to get on an eating schedule or a plan. So how many meals would you have eaten by 2 o'clock at that point?
Oh my gosh, two.
Two. So your breakfast at 10 and then maybe one more in the in between of picking people up and all that.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
then after you pick your older kids up at 2, what's next?
So then, okay, so we're waking up from nap, it's snack time, and then we're gonna get ready for the gym.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Snack time for kids, and then you're going to the gym. And at that point, so Frank is a fitness guy too. So
Mhm.
is he watching kids while you're at the gym, or do you guys flip-flop, or do you guys go together and then like older kids watch younger kids, or how does that work?
It's amazing. Our gym has a daycare, so we all
Okay.
go. And
Okay.
yes, they play while we lift and cardio and all that. And then the older kids, they'll come to the gym with us sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
Awesome.
like family time, you know?
Perfect. So you're at the gym for probably what, like an hour and a half or so?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so then kids are with you, you guys go home and then eat post-workout, I'm assuming. Or then it's probably close to dinner time. What time is it when you guys get home from the gym?
Probably like 6, 7 o'clock at this point.
Okay, 6, 7 o'clock. So it's basically dinner time.
Yes.
Sit down and eat together as a family.
Yes. And
Okay.
I say that kind of hesitantly because when I am prepping, I will literally have to fix dinner and step away
Yeah.
because if I'm making spaghetti or something that I really want a bite of, I can't sit there, you know?
Yeah.
I'll have to go
Totally.
in another room and eat my, whatever.
Okay. And your family knows, like they know, and
Oh
they're like,
yeah.
okay, mom's doing her thing, eating her food. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Cool. So then okay, so then what's going on after dinner? Are you guys hanging out? Are you guys, what's
Yes.
the evening look like?
Our thing is we love to play Jeopardy and we are so freaking competitive with it. So Jeopardy is like our thing. So we do that. And then after that, we do like, we start bedtime for the girls.
Okay, got you. And then with Saint, so with the business, so you're a stay-at-home mom, but you still do business from home. So
Yes.
where does that fit into your day, or what's like kind of your requirements for that?
Yeah. So Saint is this like easy makeup that I share with women um, that, don't know how to do their makeup. And I kind of fit that in honestly wherever I can. Like it's a thing where I can like make content, little videos,
Mhm.
kind of in my errand time or during nap time is really good, where I can like sit down
Okay.
and do some things. So that's kind of, you know, in my spare time, I
Yeah,
can
it's
work on my
right,
business.
right. Right. Well, I mean, it looks like you crush it and you definitely put out some really good content for Saint. I mean, it looks like it's going well for sure.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So that's cool that you can kind of do that in through weaved all through everything. So I think too, it's really good for people, moms who aren't really sure. Cause I talk to a lot of moms and they're like, man, I want to do this, but I just don't know how I'm gonna do it or where that time's
Mhm.
gonna be. So I think hearing, what a day in your life looks like can maybe help them see or, figure out how they would plan it. Or do you prep most of your meals in advance or are you making them throughout the day?
Bulk food, girl, and we just dish it out, as you need it. But I just have to say to all the moms, like, you always think there's not enough time, or even as a mom, your time is crazy, but somehow you manage to get everything done. If you Where there's a will, there's a way. If there's something that you want to do, you are going to find the time and you're going to find a way to get it done. Like as moms, we just always just we have that superpower, you
Yes.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you absolutely do. And so so kind of bringing it back to competing. So you just competed like literally last weekend. And right before that. So now you've qualified for the Yorton Cup. Can we talk about goals in future pacing? And now that you're competing, you're doing your fitness thing, you've got your business, your schedule, everything is like cruising. What's
Yeah.
next?
Well, so the Yorton is next. So you and I are going to crush the Yorton in 2025.
Yeah, and that shows more towards the end of the year. So we have like
Yes.
a good time to go through an improvement season, a reverse phase, make some improvements.
Yes.
I'll kind of have pop up some photos of Erin's competition photos so you can see what she looks like. But the main improvements that we want to make is just glute density. It's getting
Hmm.
that pop. And honestly,
Yes.
it takes more time to put on your your body doesn't really want to put on muscle past a certain point. So we have to really, really try and create the perfect scenario where it's like you're basically allowing it to do that. So we want to make sure that your food's right, your rest and your recovery's right, your training's right.
Hmm.
Um, and then we're also sculpting your physique because you're already such a high level athlete. With your training program that I just got for you now, there's not really any compounds in it. And the reason for that is because your quads they don't need more development, right? You have good
Right.
legs, but we need density in the glutes specifically, which can be really challenging, honestly, to isolate your glutes and like put muscle there without everything else going on in your lower body.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a little boring. It's a lot of RDLs, it's a lot of glute bridges, it's a lot of kickback, it's abductions, it's banded, fire hydrants, and booty work. But
But
you're
that's
ready.
the stuff I love. So great. It's music to
Yes.
my ears.
Yeah, absolutely ready for it. And did you get any judges' feedback from the show that you just did by chance yet, or not yet?
Not yet. Not yet. But as soon as I do, I'll let you know.
Yes. And so what's your assessment of your last competition or the past couple that you've done or, highlighting improvements that you've made or what you
Yeah.
think we need to work on going forward?
Yeah, and I mean, you can honestly look at your physique and see like where you think you should go. So for me, I would love to see bigger shoulders. We need some size on these arms, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, the glute density, like you mentioned. Um, more developed hamstrings for me too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got you doing, and that's where it's nice too, is it's kind of easier to isolate the hamstrings with hamstring curls and single leg curls and the RDLs. Those are all things that can help as well. But my
Mhm.
goal, especially between now and when you prep, is to get your calorie intake as high as possible. I want to get it like higher than we've ever been, of course, while keeping you within,
Yeah.
distance of that contest prep condition, of course.
Hmm.
And so okay, so we talked a little bit about your prep before we wrap things up here. This last prep that you did and like your dieting and getting ready for the show, how was your headspace there? So you and Frank got to go and kind of have this date, this getaway at the show, but your mindset leading up to it and your headspace going into it, how was that this time?
Courtney, I was so freaking tunnel vision, like it was not even funny. And it had to be that way. Halloween just passed, and sometimes you want to sneak a piece of candy, or it was none of that. Like I, I don't think I've ever been so disciplined in a prep ever, like because I knew what I had to do you
Yes.
know and I was just so freaking focused. And again, my faith honestly is what kept me going. And I was just so grateful. And I
Mm,
told you this too. I
yes.
was just so freaking and just thankful and happy. I really wanted to have like a positive, headspace, and attitude, because I'm grateful that I'm able to, buy all of my food and be able to have it, all the healthy options. I'm grateful that I didn't get injured. Like, I'm so thankful that I'm able to have this time to do my fasted cardio when I drop the
Mhm.
kids off at school.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, just being just thankful for everything, and just staying like really strong in my faith really, really helped. Like, and
Yeah.
that's what it
I
was.
love that. I love that you lean on that too. And I try not to, I coach a lot of people and I never, assume, that people
Yes.
are, religious
Yes.
or not religious, but I love that for you because I feel the same way. And I feel like just that attitude of being grateful that we're even able to do the things that we do. Competing is something you found love with. You can do it. You found somebody who also
Yep.
loves it and supports you. And there's a lot to be grateful for there.
Because my first husband did not. Like, it was bad. Like, Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
like,
and I can relate to that because my ex-husband did not either, and that makes
yeah.
life so much harder. And actually that's a good, is there anybody else in your life right now or that you've experienced, that isn't the biggest fan of competing? I mean, are you close with your parents? Do they support you or how do they feel about it?
Yes, my parents love me, support me in anything I do, but they don't understand, you know. My mom's, frying fish. She's like, "Oh, Erin, it's fish." I'm like, "But mom, it's fried." You know.
Right.
Erin, I made sweet potatoes, but mom, you've got butter and brown sugar all over them.
Yeah.
So they love and support me, but they just, you know,
They don't understand.
they don't understand.
I think that's really valuable because a lot of people's parents don't understand or they have people in their lives who don't get it. And
Mhm.
so, they don't want to be the odd one out, but at the same time they have these goals and they don't want to partake in those activities anymore. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you had to overcome with your fitness or let's get into the nitty-gritty a little bit. What's the biggest thing you've had to overcome to get to where you are now?
Oh, okay. Okay. This is really being honest and open, okay? So, I think the biggest challenge overall is competing in NPC as a natural athlete
Mm,
because I there was Masters Nationals where I feel like we really looked great. I mean, we were freaking shredded. Like, oh my god. I loved the look, but compared to the other girls, I was a shrimp. And but when I saw myself every day, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I look great. I maybe I have a chance." But then you step on stage and you're like, "We need
yeah.
a lot more muscle here, baby."
Yeah, yeah. And I had another natural athlete who she's a genetic freak. She's got a killer physique. She's also an OCB pro. And yeah, there was a point she actually got first call out at a national show a couple years ago. We went back and tried USA's this year, and every year I feel like the distance just gets further because there are the NPC awards that performance enhanced look more now than ever. And the protocols are getting crazier that coaches are running and with these women. And
Mhm.
I feel like it used to just be, very minimal, very kind of
Yes.
more safe supplements. And now we're talking about estrogen blockers and all these crazy things
Yeah.
that definitely separate the distance. So when it comes to your choice to stay natural, what can you talk about why that is or what
Yeah.
kept you grounded there?
Yeah, it's simple and it's just, my kids, my family, like, that's
Yeah.
it.
So you're
That's
setting
it.
an example for them. You wouldn't want them to feel pressured to use performance enhancing drugs for a sport that they loved.
Yeah, exactly. And my thing has always been back to that first show when I came in last place. And I just wanted to prove to them to just freaking work hard. Just do it. Just if you have a goal, just work hard and just go for it. And like
Hmm.
that's just always been my thing for them. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And I think that's really noble because most people who, they stay in the sport long enough, like there's these memes and these jokes about it, like I'm either going out natty or I'm staying long enough to be on whatever.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's funny, but I mean, it's kind of true in a lot of cases. So for the women who have been in this for years and they're continuing to grow and train and get better and they choose to stay natural, I always like to dig into that a little bit because as other women are going to be making that choice for themselves,
Mhm.
sometimes it helps to hear it from another woman who's, in this life situation and, confident in their decision.
Yeah, and it's no judgment at all. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
People are probably judging me for, doing what I do. I can't judge anybody, for their whatever. This is just my choice.
So after that experience at Masters Nationals, would you want to continue to compete in the NPC at this point, or are you committed to the OCB going forward?
Oh, I like to do everything. I still want to do NPC and still want to
Okay.
do OCB. Like I don't care. I
Okay.
just yeah.
Even knowing that you're at that disadvantage.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good to know. And then before we wrap it up here, what if there was one piece of advice that you could give, you know, I don't know, I just think of a random name, but other women who are parents or new parents, or maybe they're a single mom, what advice would you give them with all this knowledge and the experience that you've gained over the years and after, having the experience that you have, what would you share to make their journey better or help them?
Okay. Um, if I could give one piece of advice, I think my best piece of advice would be to hire a coach and just work with that coach, stick with that coach. And because it's a learning experience on both ends, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like I see people kind of jump around to different coaches if they didn't get, a placement here or whatever. I personally don't think that that's the right way to go about things. I just think that kind of sticking together and sticking it out, because the longer you are with someone, the more that person can really learn your body. So
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
so I think just finding your coach and just sticking and working and just laying that foundation together and just growing from there is going to be the best thing you can do, because if you jump around, you're going to be laying that foundation over and over and over and over, and there's really not great coaches out there. And
Yeah.
you, Courtney, are a wonderful coach because you actually care. You put the health of your athletes first, which I really appreciate. So I think that would be my biggest piece of advice, is to find a great coach and stick with that coach.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's super valuable too. And I've had people that have, maybe tried other experiences and they leave and they go have another experience and they're like, okay, I'm ready to come back now. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think it's valuable for people to have that other experience so they can see it. I always try to keep open arms just in case maybe they don't have a negative experience or just in case they do. I always wish people the best, but
Oh,
I would
for sure.
know too, there's no like animosity or like, oh, well, I guess I'm done with you. Then it's never like
Right.
that. I think allowing people to explore if they need to, and then just being a soft place to land if they don't have a good experience, because it is so hard if you have a negative experience with a coach or
Hmm.
they say that you need to do something that goes against your morals and your values in order to be successful, or
True.
you have these boundaries and they're crossing those for their own success as a coach. So yeah, I think it sucks to have a negative experience, and it can definitely some psychologically damage the person, but and sometimes physically, depending on what they did to get there.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, but anyways, that pretty much, so I think that covers everything that I want. Is there anything else that you wanted to share or that we didn't cover?
No, I had some things that I wanted to bring up, and we hit them. So I'm
We
really
hit
happy to
it.
get this whole message out there.
Good. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erin. I'm gonna stop the recording but I'm gonna keep you on here for